How's it going, guys? My name is Darby and welcome back to the channel. I was planning to do the primer on the load bin of the bucket today, but started checking through my stock and I don't have any primer. So instead, what I'm gonna do is try and get this bonnet as smooth and shiny as possible. So in today's episode, we'll be doing some wet sanding. Fun, more sanding. Now just looking at this, it looks quite shiny and smooth, but I'm not a professional painter, and of course you are going to have a little bit of a rough surface. I don't know if the camera picks it up very well, but it's not nice and smooth, and it's definitely not very shiny. So we'll be tackling this in 3 steps, 4 steps, 9 steps, 28 steps. We'll start with a 1200 grit sandpaper. From that go up to 2000 grit, 3000 grit, and then we'll pull out the electric polisher and see if we can get this thing nice and smooth and shiny. So what do I usually use? Well, sanding paper. I use one of these red Scotch Brite pads. Put inside of the sandpaper. I just wrap the sandpaper around it, water, and of course our famous small pair of scissors to cut the paper to size. So let me cut this thing quickly and let's start doing that favorite activity of sanding. Okay, so to start, I've just got a cloth here, microfiber of course, which I'm gonna just wipe down the whole bonnet. If you're South African or basically any other nation in the friends in the US, who calls it a hood. A hood is something you put on your head, but never mind all of that. Give it a good wipe down and dry it off. Make sure all the dust and rubbish that's on here is clean, and we're working with a nice clean surface. Otherwise, the dust that gets trapped between the paint and your sanding paper will scratch the panel, and I don't think that's anything that any of us want, is to scratch this panel. Okay, that's all wiped off. Let's rinse out the cloth and let's get that thing nice and wet. Our sandpaper as well. Just bring the bucket closer, so I'm gonna dip your paper and everything in the water. Okay, and let's start sanding. Be careful of these edges. That's the first place you're gonna sand through your paint, and then you've done all of this for nothing. So work mainly on your flat surfaces. That is basically where we will concentrate our effort. And I can immediately feel a lot of drag on this paper, which means the surface is quite rough. Now one thing you'll see immediately is, as you start taking off this rough surface, is the color of the paint that we are sanding. Because this is a single stage, white paint, we are going to take off a little bit of that white color. We don't have to go overboard with this part. It's basically just to get the paint nice and flat. And remember, the more we sand, the more sanding scratches we put on this panel. I prefer to sand in one direction, not the bend, the direction. And yeah, when you start with your next step, sand in a different direction, because the next step, the finer paper, is basically to get all the sanding scratches from your first pass out. Now this makes a mess in the area that you're working in, so make sure it's an area that you are allowed to make a mess in. Luckily I'm a bachelor, so I can make a mess wherever I want. So there. Like I said, be careful of the edges. That's the first place that you're gonna sand right through the paint. And then you've got the fun task of repainting the whole thing again. So I can start it, feeling it getting smoother now. And get right up to those edges. Otherwise it's gonna look weird if you've got a nice flat surface but your edges is all or whatever, all not so lekker. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Let's blow this dry. Yeah, that's so much different. Definitely a lot different. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it's different. Let's carry on with the rest of this thing and see what we can get done. Okay, I know I said try and go in one direction. This is my newly painted grill, and I really don't want to damage that paint job now, so I'll go in a different direction this side. And I've got my pinky between the grill and the sandpaper here. I'll rather sand my pinky off than repaint this grill. Why? Because I'm lazy. Alrighty then. Now a lot of this slight roughness on the panel is also because of overspray that happens during the painting process. Not having a 5.5 million rand painting booth, that's gonna happen. So most of the stuff will actually come off quite easily. Just some elbow grease and everyone's favorite pastime, sanding. No, sanding sucks. Maybe just for interest's sake, I think I'm only gonna do half this bonnet hood thing now, go through the whole process, and then we can see the difference between the part I've sanded and the part that's not sanded. Once again, you're gonna go through quite a bit of sanding paper. So if you can find good quality paper, go for that, because the cheap stuff just doesn't last. Okay, let's give this a wipe down and see what we are working with. Wow, just wiping down this panel, it feels completely different. Okay, let's get this thing to dry off a bit, and then we can have a quick look. Okay, so I've decided to put a strip of tape down the middle, just so that we stay consistent with the area we are working in. And you'll see this area is now really starting to get quite dull, and that's exactly what we want. This dullness, well, you'll probably ask yourself, but you said we're gonna make it shiny, why it are now dull? It's because we're sanding it. The shiny part comes. All good things take time. I hated it when my teachers taught me that at school, who told me that at school. All good things take time. Yep. Okay, so let's just quickly sand down the center line to make sure we've got this whole area covered, and then we can carry on with the next grit of sandpaper. It is important to keep the paper quite wet, because number one, it keeps the paper clean, which keeps it from clogging up, and secondly, it helps lubricate the surface a bit, so that the sanding just goes a bit easier. Alrighty then, That was the 1200 grit sanding paper. Next step, 2000 grit. Okay, so now we've got our 2000 grit paper, which we will now use to remove all the scratches that we have introduced with the 1200 grit sandpaper. Wait. Come on. That's what happens when you don't have enough water on the panel. I think yep, get some more on there. Get this area nice and smooth. Like I said, guys, be careful with your edges. I can see I've already burned through the paint over there, so try and stick with sanding the flat surfaces. Otherwise you're gonna have touch-ups like I've got there now when I paint the load pin. Yay. Okay, now for the 3000 grit. I've got no idea what the quality of this paper is. I bought it off Temu. Because why? Because finding this stuff in South Africa is next to impossible. So you must do what you can, bro. Okay, let's see what we've got. It's smooth, that I can tell you. Right, let's give it a minute to dry and we can have a closer look. Okay, so the next step, we'll be using this dual action polisher with a cutting pad and a medium cut polish. That should now start bringing the shine into this thing, I hope. I'll give this stuff a good shake, and then let's just prep this pad, because you don't want to run this thing on there dry. Get some polish on there. Work it into the thing a bit. Oh, that's way too much. Perfect. Okay, then you can just get the stuff all over your panel here and there a bit, and then the speed on this machine is adjustable, so you start at low speed and then you can work yourself up to a slightly higher speed as you go. Okay, that is just one quick pass. Let's see if it looks any different. I doubt it, but let's see. Ooh, I can see some shine. I can see some shine. Oh yes. Now again, these edges, be careful. Paint is thin there. You don't want to work through that paint, because it's gonna go through and then you're not going to be too happy with yourselves. I can see just this one pass already made a massive difference. So let's carry on. Some more polish on there. I don't know why. Maybe it's because this is a piece of crap cheap machine, but it's popping like oil drops and crap all over the place, so we'll just pretend we didn't see that. Cool. Let's have a look. Wow, okay. That made quite a difference. That's huge, man. Let me see if I can get a better angle for you. You can see how it's all kind of hazy on that side, on this side, and over there you've got a much cleaner, much nicer shine. Let's see if we take it from this side. Compared to that. I think that's actually awesome. You should actually see this in person to really see the difference. That's the fender, and that's the area that we've sanded and polished. Bad orange peel, nice and smooth. Awesome. Now, just for shits and giggles, I decided to try a fine polishing polish on here now. Let's see how glossy we can get this thing. Remember guys, this is minimal effort that I'm putting in here. So, let's see. Okay, let's give it a wipe down and let's see what it looks like. Okay, that is impressive. I can see I've still got some sanding scratches in there, so I'll probably have to go over it with the 2000 and the 3000 again. But man, what a difference. Wow. Let's pull this tape back. Get rid of the tape marks. Wow. It's like night and day difference. I wonder if I can maybe find a light or something. But yeah, there you can see the difference between the two. Nice, smooth, not so nice, smooth. You can actually see from the reflection in the paint. If you look at those trees there, and you look at those trees there, huge difference. Awesome, man.